Your mind is one of the most powerful and valuable things you possess. It shapes the way you think, how you see the world, and how you respond to the challenges of life. The thoughts you allow into your mind can influence your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately the direction of your life. In today's world, our minds are constantly exposed to information, opinions, negativity, and distractions. If we are not careful about what we allow into our minds, these influences can slowly affect our confidence, focus, and peace of mind. Protecting your mind is not about ignoring reality, but about being intentional with what you allow to influence your thinking. In this video, we will explore several important strategies that can help you protect your mind, strengthen your mindset, and create a more positive and focused way of thinking. By learning how to manage your thoughts and your environment, you can build a stronger mental foundation that supports growth, confidence, and inner peace. Rule 1: Be careful what you consume. Everything you allow into your mind has an influence on the way you think, feel, and respond to life. The videos you watch, the music you listen to, the conversations you engage in, and the information you read all leave an impression on your mind. Over time, these influences begin to shape your beliefs, your emotional state, and even the way you view yourself and the world around you. When a person constantly consumes negative or stressful content, it can slowly affect their mindset without them even realizing it. For example, frequent exposure to drama, criticism, or discouraging information can create feelings of anxiety, frustration, or self-doubt. The mind begins to focus more on problems, conflicts, and fears rather than possibilities and solutions. This can reduce motivation and make challenges appear larger than they actually are. On the other hand, when people intentionally choose to consume positive and constructive information, the mind gradually develops a healthier perspective. Educational content, motivational messages, inspiring stories, and thoughtful discussions can strengthen confidence, encourage creativity, and support personal growth. These types of influences help the mind stay focused on improvement and opportunity rather than negativity. Being careful about what you consume does not mean avoiding reality or ignoring important issues in the world. Instead, it means creating balance and being mindful of the amount and type of information you allow into your daily life. It involves asking yourself whether the content you are consuming is helping you grow or simply draining your mental energy. Protecting your mind requires awareness and intention. When you become selective about the information you absorb, you begin to build a healthier mental environment. This environment supports clearer thinking, stronger emotional balance, and greater focus on the goals and values that truly matter in your life. Rule 2: Limit negative influences. The people you spend time with have a powerful influence on your thoughts, emotions, and overall mindset. Human beings naturally absorb attitudes, behaviors, and perspectives from the environments around them. Because of this, the energy and mindset of the people in your life can either strengthen your confidence and motivation or slowly weaken it over time. When you are constantly surrounded by negativity, such as criticism, pessimism, gossip, or discouraging attitudes, it can begin to affect how you think about yourself and your abilities. Even if you start with a positive mindset, repeated exposure to negative influences can slowly create doubt, stress, and emotional fatigue. Conversations that focus only on problems, complaints, or blame often drain mental energy and make it more difficult to stay focused on personal growth. Limiting negative influences does not necessarily mean completely removing people from your life. In many situations, that may not be realistic, especially when dealing with coworkers, relatives, or people in your daily environment. Instead, it means becoming more aware of how certain interactions affect your mental and emotional well-being and creating healthy boundaries when necessary. Healthy boundaries can include reducing the time spent in negative conversations, choosing not to engage in unnecessary arguments, or protecting your personal goals from people who constantly criticize or discourage your efforts. By setting these boundaries, You create space for a healthier mental environment where your thoughts can remain focused and constructive. At the same time, it is important to intentionally surround yourself with people who support growth and positivity. Encouraging individuals often inspire confidence, share helpful perspectives, and motivate others to improve. When you interact with people who believe in learning, progress, and self-improvement, their mindset can influence you in positive ways as well. Being around supportive and optimistic people can strengthen your motivation and remind you that growth is always possible. These relationships often create an environment where ideas, goals, and ambitions are encouraged rather than dismissed. Protecting your mind means recognizing that the people around you contribute to your mental environment. By limiting negative influences and surrounding yourself with individuals who encourage growth and positivity, you create a stronger foundation for confidence, focus, and emotional balance. Rule 3: Guard your thoughts. Your thoughts shape the way you experience life more than you may realize. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass through your mind, influencing your emotions, your confidence, and the decisions you make. When your mind is filled with constructive and balanced thoughts, it becomes easier to stay calm, focused, and motivated. But when negative thoughts take control, they can slowly affect how you see yourself and the world around you. Negative thought patterns often appear in subtle ways. For example, a person might begin to doubt their abilities after a small mistake, or assume that a challenge is impossible before even trying. Thoughts such as, "I'm not good enough," "this will never work," or "I always fail," can quietly weaken confidence over time. When these thoughts repeat frequently, they start to shape your mindset and influence your actions. Guarding your thoughts means becoming aware of these patterns instead of automatically accepting them as truth. Not every thought that enters your mind is accurate or helpful. Sometimes the mind reacts quickly to fear, stress, or past experiences, creating thoughts that exaggerate problems or underestimate your abilities. Learning to pause and examine your thoughts allows you to respond more thoughtfully rather than reacting automatically. When a negative idea appears, you can question it. Ask yourself whether the thought is truly accurate or whether it is simply a reaction based on doubt or fear. Often, this small moment of reflection helps reduce the power that negative thinking can have. Protecting your mind does not mean pretending that problems do not exist. Challenges, mistakes, and difficult situations are a natural part of life. However, the way you think about those challenges can make a significant difference. Instead of allowing your mind to focus only on what might go wrong, you can direct your attention toward solutions, lessons, and opportunities for improvement. For example, a mistake can be viewed either as proof of failure or as an opportunity to learn something valuable. A difficult situation can be seen either as a permanent obstacle or as a temporary challenge that requires patience and effort. The thoughts you choose to focus on will influence how you respond to these moments. Over time, practicing this awareness helps develop stronger mental discipline. Your mind becomes less controlled by automatic negative reactions and more guided by thoughtful, balanced thinking. This shift creates greater emotional stability, clearer decision-making, and a stronger sense of confidence. By guarding your thoughts and choosing constructive perspectives, you protect the mental space where motivation, creativity, and personal growth can develop. Rule 4: Take breaks from constant noise. Modern life exposes the mind to a constant stream of information. Throughout the day, people are surrounded by notifications, social media updates, news headlines, messages, advertisements, and endless digital content. While technology can be helpful and informative, this continuous flow of information can also overwhelm the brain. When the mind rarely gets a moment of silence, it becomes difficult to think clearly or focus deeply. The brain was not designed to process non-stop stimulation for long periods without rest. When the mind is constantly switching between messages, videos, posts, and conversations, it uses a large amount of mental energy. Over time, this can lead to mental fatigue, difficulty concentrating, and a feeling of being mentally exhausted even when the body is not physically tired. Constant noise also reduces the brain's ability to reflect and process thoughts. Reflection is important because it allows the mind to organize ideas, learn from experiences, and make thoughtful decisions. Without quiet moments, the brain moves quickly from one piece of information to another without truly absorbing or understanding it. Taking intentional breaks from digital distractions allows the mind to recover and reset. Even short periods away from screens and constant information can help restore mental clarity. During these quiet moments, the brain has the opportunity to slow down, relax, and process thoughts more naturally. Silence and calm environments also support creativity and problem solving. When the mind is not overwhelmed by external noise, it becomes easier to think deeply and explore new ideas. Many people notice that their best ideas appear during moments of quiet, such as while walking, reflecting, or simply sitting without distractions. Creating space for quiet does not require long periods of isolation. Small habits can make a meaningful difference. For example, turning off unnecessary notifications, taking short breaks from social media, spending time outdoors, or setting aside moments during the day for reflection can help protect mental clarity. These quiet breaks act like rest for the mind. Just as the body needs time to recover after physical activity, the brain also needs moments of calm to maintain balance and focus. By regularly stepping away from constant noise, you allow your mind to recharge, think more clearly, and maintain a healthier mental state. Rule 5. Focus on what you can control. One of the biggest sources of stress in life comes from worrying about things that are outside of our control. People often spend a large amount of time thinking about situations they cannot change, such as other people's opinions, past mistakes, unexpected events, or uncertain outcomes. While it is natural to care about these things, constantly focusing on them can drain mental energy and create unnecessary anxiety. When the mind becomes trapped in this cycle of worry, it begins to feel overwhelmed. Thoughts repeatedly return to the same questions: what if things go wrong? What if people judge me? What if I fail? These types of thoughts can make problems appear larger than they actually are. Over time, this pattern can reduce confidence and make it harder to focus on meaningful actions. Protecting your mind means learning to recognize the difference between what you can control and what you cannot control. There are many things in life that are simply beyond our influence: other people's behavior, unexpected events, past decisions, or the way the world reacts to us. Spending too much mental energy on these things rarely leads to solutions. However, there are also important things that remain within your control. You can control your effort, your attitude, your response to challenges, and the decisions you make each day. These areas may seem small compared to the larger uncertainties of life, but they are powerful because they shape the direction of your actions and your growth. When you shift your focus toward what you can control, your mindset becomes more stable and productive. Instead of worrying endlessly about possible outcomes, you begin concentrating on the steps you can take right now. This change reduces stress because your attention is directed toward action rather than fear. For example, you may not be able to control whether a certain opportunity appears, but you can control how prepared you are when that opportunity arrives. You may not control how others judge your work, but you can control the effort and dedication you put into improving your skills. By focusing on these controllable areas, you continue moving forward even when uncertainty exists. This mindset also helps protect your emotional balance. When people accept that some things are outside their control, they stop fighting against every unpredictable situation. Instead, they adapt, learn, and focus their energy where it can make a real difference. Over time, this approach builds resilience and mental clarity. You become less overwhelmed by circumstances and more focused on the actions that help you grow. By directing your attention toward what you can influence, you protect your mind from unnecessary stress and create a stronger sense of purpose and control in your daily life. Rule 6. Practice mental discipline. Just as the body becomes stronger through consistent physical training, the mind also becomes stronger through regular mental practice. Mental discipline is the ability to guide your thoughts, emotions, and reactions in a thoughtful and controlled way instead of allowing impulses, stress, or negative thinking to control you. Many people experience moments when emotions quickly take over: anger during a disagreement, fear during uncertainty, or frustration when things do not go as planned. These reactions are natural, but when they happen too often or too strongly, they can lead to poor decisions and unnecessary stress. Mental discipline helps create a pause between a situation and your reaction, giving you the ability to respond with clarity instead of reacting purely from emotion. Developing mental discipline often begins with small daily habits that strengthen awareness and focus. Reflection is one example. Taking time to think about your actions, decisions, and experiences helps you understand what worked well and what could be improved. This process builds self-awareness, which is a key part of controlling how your mind responds to different situations. Mindfulness is another powerful habit. It involves paying attention to the present moment instead of constantly worrying about the past or future. When people practice mindfulness, they learn to observe their thoughts without immediately reacting to them. This awareness makes it easier to recognize negative thinking patterns and choose a more balanced response. Learning is also an important part of mental discipline. Reading, studying, and exploring new ideas stimulate the mind and keep it active. When the brain is regularly challenged with new information, it becomes better at problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity. Continuous learning strengthens confidence and keeps the mind flexible. Positive thinking also contributes to mental strength. This does not mean ignoring problems or pretending that everything is perfect. Instead, it means choosing to focus on solutions, growth, and possibilities rather than becoming trapped in fear or negativity. A disciplined mind looks at challenges as opportunities to learn rather than reasons to give up. Over time, these habits work together to build a stronger mindset. When challenges appear, a disciplined mind remains calmer and more focused. Instead of reacting immediately with frustration or doubt, it evaluates the situation and chooses a thoughtful response. Mental discipline takes patience and consistent effort, but its benefits grow over time. As this skill develops, it becomes easier to manage stress, maintain emotional balance, and stay focused on meaningful goals. By strengthening your mental discipline, you create a powerful foundation for resilience, clarity, and long-term personal growth. Rule 8. Feed your mind with positivity. The mind functions very much like a garden. Whatever you consistently plant and nurture will eventually grow. If the mind is constantly exposed to negativity, criticism, and discouraging ideas, those influences can slowly grow into doubt, fear, and pessimism. However, when the mind is regularly nourished with positive and meaningful influences, it becomes a place where confidence, creativity, and motivation can develop. Feeding your mind with positivity begins with being intentional about what you allow into your daily thinking. This includes the books you read, the conversations you participate in, the media you consume, and the ideas you reflect on. Positive influences do not mean unrealistic optimism or ignoring life's challenges. Instead, they involve focusing on information and perspectives that encourage learning, improvement, and personal growth. For example, reading educational or inspiring material can introduce new ideas that expand your perspective. Listening to thoughtful discussions or motivational messages can remind you that growth and progress are always possible. These influences gradually shape your mindset, making it easier to approach challenges with determination and a solution-oriented attitude. Another powerful way to nourish the mind is through gratitude. Taking time to appreciate the positive aspects of life, no matter how small they may seem, helps shift attention away from constant problems and toward the things that bring meaning and value. Practicing gratitude regularly can improve emotional balance and help create a more optimistic outlook. Learning new skills or exploring new ideas also strengthens the mind in positive ways. When people challenge themselves to grow intellectually or creatively, they stimulate curiosity and motivation. This type of mental activity keeps the brain engaged and encourages a mindset focused on improvement rather than limitation. Positive environments and supportive relationships also play a major role. Spending time with individuals who encourage growth, share constructive ideas, and support your goals can reinforce healthy thinking patterns. These interactions remind you that progress is possible and that setbacks are simply part of the learning process. Over time, these positive influences accumulate and begin shaping how you naturally think and respond to situations. When the mind is regularly nourished with constructive ideas, it becomes easier to remain calm during challenges, stay motivated during difficult periods, and maintain a balanced perspective. Feeding your mind with positivity is not a one-time action, it is a daily practice. The small choices you make about what you read, watch, listen to, and think about gradually build the mental environment in which your thoughts grow. By choosing influences that support learning, gratitude, and personal development, you strengthen your mindset and create a foundation for long-term well-being and personal success. Your mind shapes your thoughts, your decisions, and ultimately your life. That's why protecting it is so important. Be mindful of what you consume, the people around you, and the thoughts you allow to grow in your mind. When you protect your mind, you protect your peace, your focus, and your future. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content on mindset and personal growth.